Say thank you. Oh, we are recording this, and I want to say thank you for everyone for joining us today. I'm co-founder of Kokoro Care, Lillian Hanako Rowlatt, and this is a real honor for me to do both on IG Live and on Zoom to our community that's joining us from hopefully from different spots around the world. I co-founded Kokoro Care about 6 years ago, and this is actually our first ever Advent calendar. So I do want to say thank you for everyone who purchased our Advent or received it as a gift. And hopefully you've been enjoying this journey through Japan. And before I start, I'd love to know a little bit about everyone who's joining us. If you are on the chat or if you're joining us from IG Live, hi, I see a bunch of people, a lot of friends out there. Let us know where you're from. I'd love to see sort of, if we're getting people from different cities and different countries, feel free to add your city in the chat. And we will get started very shortly. Perfect. So thank you for joining us again. And as I mentioned, I'm co-founder of Kokoro Care. So we started Kokoro Care about 6 years ago. And some of you may be familiar with our company, and some of you, this may be your first introduction to us. So I put together a little bit of a presentation. Hi, we see some people from New Jersey, from Boulder Creek as well. Buffalo, I hope you're staying warm. I'm actually located in Toronto, and we just had a snowstorm come through. So hopefully you're managing to stay warm as well. And so for those of you on Zoom, I'm just going to share my screen now. I put together a little presentation. And for those of you on IG Live, you'll be able to sort of see a little bit of the box that I'm going to be showing as well. So let me hop on here and share my screen. Hopefully everyone can see that. So for those of you who may be new to Kokoro Cares, Kokoro actually translates to heart in Japanese, but like many words in Japan, it has a much deeper meaning. It means the spirit, soul, and emotion, and is really the foundation of everything that we do at Kokoro Care. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a brief introduction about Kokoro Care because some of you may be new. But I'd like to also get, if you have your hand up, if this is your first time experiencing Kokoro Care, I'd love to sort of say hello to some of our new joiners. And for those of you who've been in our community for the last 6 years, it's so wonderful to be connecting with you again. And to give you a little bit of background, yeah, so I'm half Japanese and born and raised in Toronto. And a lot of people ask, why did I start Kokoro Care? And I think for some people, the obvious answer is because my mother is Japanese and she lives here in Toronto with me. And so this is really sort of a labor of love and a way for me to share, to bring her foods from Japan that she loves and she remembers. But as the company sort of built, it was really around community, which is very important to us. And I think when I think about Kokoro Care, it's really a way of connecting people. So not just about sharing the wonderful foods, which I'm sure you've all had a chance to enjoy, really local artisanal foods, but also to connect you with our local producers and farmers. As you know, in Japan, a lot of them are aging and the population is declining in Japan. And so Kokoro Care is also a way for us to help support these local businesses by sharing their wonderful products with people like you all around the world. It's really a treat for them when they get to see their products being enjoyed all around the world. For a lot of them, they're just used to seeing local people in Japan, in their small communities enjoy the treat. So it's really a wonderful, special occasion for them as well. So just quickly a little bit about Kokoro Care. So as I mentioned, we sort of think about it as more instead of farm to table, tradition to table. So a lot of the producers that we work with, they have companies that have been around for 7, 8 generations, and we really want to make sure that you're connected to their traditions. As well, we try to be as dietary friendly as possible. I think a lot of people now are thinking about their health and their wellness, and we really want to bring that and make it really easy for you to make choices in terms of if you're vegan or if you're gluten-free or if you're soy-free. We clearly label all of our products to make sure that it's easy for you to enjoy the different products without having to worry too much about any allergies that you may have. We also focus on sustainability. So as you can imagine, a lot of our farmers are still using traditional methods that have been around for centuries. And so it's very local, very traditional, and in many aspects, very sustainable as well, which is very important to us. Our products too are also 100% natural. And so when you look on our site, there's no high fructose corn syrup, there's no chemical additives. There's also no MSG, which I think is a little bit controversial for a lot of people. I think, in Japan, MSG is almost seen as almost like salt, where it's used in a little bit of to add flavor. But I know in America and some Western societies, MSG has a little bit of a bad reputation. So we make it easy by making all of our products MSG free. Of course, all of our products are made in Japan. I would love to know, have people here been to Japan? And if you have in the chat, if you can let us know if you've been and where you've been, I'd love to sort of get a feel for how familiar everyone is with Japanese food and cuisine. And then, of course, all of our products are artisanal. We try to find really unique products that you can't find anywhere else. This was sort of one of my frustrations, and I can imagine for a lot of you as well who've been to Japan, having been there and you come back and you kind of, even if you are lucky enough to have a Japanese grocery store near you, it's really hard to find unique products. And so our team is mostly based in Japan. My co-founder, Aki Sugiyama, really goes out and meets with our local farmers, meets with our local producers to find products that you can't find anywhere else. We have a comment here. Someone loves that there's no high fructose corn syrup. It was really important to me as well. I'm very healthy. Anyone who knows me knows that, I'm a little bit of a label reader, and I wanted to make sure that, the products that we share are products that everyone else will feel comfortable enjoying as well. So I wanted for those of you who are on our Zoom call, if you are on IG and you do want to join the Zoom, just let us know in the chat. I have a co-host, Mariko Lockridge, who's joining us as well. She can send you the Zoom link and you can join us on the Zoom as well. So I wanted to introduce you to really the stars of the show. It's not me, it's not our co-founder, it's our local producers. And for some of you on day 19 of the Advent calendar had a chance to try a really unique soy sauce that we have from Marunaka. And it's really wonderful, the soy sauce, because I think you might have noticed it's not overly salty. I think when you get a lot of soy sauces, especially in the West, you can notice that it just tastes salty. But this one, I would say, is more full of umami. And for those of you, please feel free to raise your hand. Let us know if you had a chance to enjoy the soy sauce. And what I think makes this soy sauce really, oh, so for those who didn't have it, some of them had it and some of them had a fish cracker instead. So we do have this soy sauce on our site available for single item purchase if you are interested. But what makes this soy sauce really unique is it's an eighth generation family owned business. And they've been using the same equipment for 200 years. So if you go into the actual, to visit the company, they won't allow you to visit the actual place where the soy sauce is being made because it's only allowed for the artisanal producers to go in because they don't want to disrupt the koji, which is the live fermenting organism that helps to create the soy sauce. So the soy sauce is actually tended to twice a day for 3 years before it's bottled. And I'm sure you noticed that there's such a wonderful difference to the soy sauce. Even just a little bit of a drop really draws out that umami. It's actually a national tangible cultural property in Japan. And it's also loved by a lot of different Michelin star chefs as well. I also wanted to introduce you to Yasashi Ume Yasan. Do you guys know what ume is? I think for some people who have been to Japan, they might know the name of ume. For us, it's I'm gonna spoil it's called. It's a Japanese plum, and we have some hearts there, so I think some people do know about this. Japanese plums are very, very sour if you eat them on their own, and so most people wouldn't. You might hear of different flavorings of maybe an ume shu, which is an ume liquor. There's also what Yasashi Ume-san really, really sort of focuses on is their umeboshi. So umeboshi is pickled plum, and it's usually pickled in a salt brine. But what makes this one really unique is so a lot of the really high quality umeboshi comes from Wakayama Prefecture. And even in Wakayama Prefecture, only 1% of those umeboshi are organic. So for those of you who may or may not know, I think in America there's a lot of organic foods that you can find, but in Japan it is very, very difficult to get the JAS organic certification. There's a lot that has to go into it, and so even though a lot of producers might not label their foods as organic, a lot of the products still are very, very high quality. But to take that extra step to make it organic makes it really special. And so we try to find organic whenever possible, but as I mentioned, quality always comes first. And then Yuzuriko, this is one of my favorite stories. So this company was actually founded by a woman when she was 66 years old, which I think is quite incredible. She was living in Tokushima, which is very famous for its yuzu. So who's had a chance to try yuzu? Please let us know. I think, oh, somebody mentioned that they love yuzu. I think it's really an iconic flavor from Japan. It has a wonderful You'll notice it has kind of like a lemony, mandarin orange, grapefruit kind of flavor. It's like citrus with a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of tartness. And what she noticed in the area that she was in is that there was a lot of wonderful pesticide-free yuzu. But yuzu trees actually grow up on mountains, and because of the aging population, a lot of the aging farmers couldn't climb the mountains to get this pesticide-free yuzu. So at the age of 66, she took the initiative to start her own company and producing and bringing a sort of a younger staff and to help revitalize the community there. And she offers one of our most favorite products. For those of you who've been with us for a while, I don't know if you had a chance to try our yuzu miso, but it is very addictive. I have to warn you ahead of time. It has a wonderful blend of citrus, sweetness, as well as the umami richness that you get from miso. And there's so many different ways that you can use it. You can use it on chicken or fish or cook vegetables in it. You can even try it on ice cream to get a little bit of that umami flavor. If you're like me, sometimes you'll sneak a spoonful, but it's absolutely delectable. And I'm sure that those who've tried it would agree as well. But I have to say, we have to get on to the star of our show, which is our Advent calendar. So I'm just going to show for everyone on our IG Live as well. This was our first ever Advent calendar. And what we really wanted to do was take you on a full journey through Japan. So people who know us know that we're not, there's a lot of snack box companies out there, but our main goal is to share with you the full spectrum of Japanese cuisine. So we include snacks and sweets and treats and sauces and seasonings. You'll find noodles. We've done different main dishes, side dishes. We really want to make enjoying Japanese food as easy as possible. We also provide a lot of English translation, and I'll even show some of our brochures as well that we include in some of our other packages. But just to talk about the design a little bit, it's called kirie. So kirie is a Japanese sort of art style that's made from cutting paper. So that was sort of the idea when we put this together is we wanted it to feel very traditional. And then for those of you who've had a chance to look inside, there's some unique little pictures and images here. I'm sure it's a little bit hard to see on our Zoom, but we wanted to also sort of incorporate some traditional ones in here as well. So for those of you who have the box, I don't know if you can see number 2, but does anyone know what day 2 is? I would love to sort of get some feedback if anyone can recognize number 2. We'll give some people a chance to guess. And this is actually called Kagami Mochi. So during the New Year, you might actually see around Japan 2 big mochi balls, which are sort of rice cakes, and it's topped with an orange on top. So this is a wonderful sort of New Year's treat. It's supposed to bring good luck. And on day 5, I don't know if you can see this one as well. This one might be really familiar to a lot of you. This is called a shimenawa. It's a braided rope that you will see outside of Shinto shrines, which also are to bring you good luck. Down here, we have day 9. Maybe some of you can recognize day 9 here. This is called a saru, and I'm sure that you've seen in onsens, which are the hot springs in Japan. You'll see iconic images of monkeys hanging out in hot springs. So that's the image that we have there. For day 17, we have a tori gate. So this is a gate that you'll see outside of the shrines in Japan. I don't know if somebody wants to try to guess number 20. This one is pretty iconic. Thank you, sir. I'm so glad that you recognize that we tried to make sure that we showed some of the winter scenes in Japan. Day 20 is actually sakura. which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. And if you've been with us for a while, we are going to be showcasing a Sakura themed box. That's going to be coming up as part of our seasonal subscription in spring. So stay tuned with that. It's going to have a lot of Sakura different flavors and also some ume as well. And then we're going to go on to day number 24. So I'm imagining hopefully some of you has saved it as a surprise for today, but maybe a lot of you were eager and excited to open it this morning. But while we're here, I'd love for you to sort of drop into the chat your favorites. I have a couple of mine. So while we're putting those together, I'm going to talk about two of my favorite ones before we dive into the last one for day 24. So the yuzu salt candy. So who had a chance to try this one? I'd love to see a show of hands. Looks like a lot of people enjoyed this one. This was one of my favorites. And the reason I wanted to share it with everyone is because I think people know, may be familiar with the flavor of yuzu, and obviously they've had a chance to try some of our candies. I think what's really interesting about Japanese sweets and desserts is that, I feel like one of the first comments I get from a lot of people is, "Oh, this isn't that sweet." And I think that there's an expectation that sweets will be over sugar, but for a lot of Japanese sweets, you'll find that they are very balanced in terms of the different tastes that they put together. So Japanese flavors tend to be very mild, as you know, but the idea is that whether it's something that's sweet or sour, salty, bitter, or even has some umami in it, the idea is that everything is going to be balanced in such a way that it enhances the other flavors and ingredients without being overpowering. So what I thought was great about this yuzu salt candy is that it has a little bit of salt. Maybe you have a chance to try some ice creams that have caramel and salt. And the salt is really there to actually enhance the flavor of the other ingredients, such as the sweetness and as well as the yuzu. It looks like Carol really enjoyed it. I think it was one of my favorites as well. I'm glad to hear that you liked it as well. And then another favorite of mine that I had is the honey umeboshi. And I'm a little embarrassed to say that I ate all my yuzu candies before this presentation, but I do have a couple of the honey umeboshi. For those of you who had a chance to enjoy these, um, umeboshi, as I mentioned before, is called pickled plum. And so, as I said, they're quite tart. So I'd love to hear from people who've tried regular umeboshi before. It really has that puckering sort of tart sourness to it. And so what we wanted to do was introduce a very classic Japanese food that maybe you've all tried before, but this one here has a little bit of honey with it. So once again, it's sort of that balance between the different tastes, and it helps to mellow out the tartness. This is really great if you want to enjoy it on a bowl of rice, or you can just eat them on their own as I do. But this is sort of another example of the beauty of some of the products that we find. They really do showcase the local flavors and something unique that you may not have tried before. Heather, yes, I was also surprised by how sweet these were because I think when you've had umeboshi before, it really has that tartness that you notice. But I think that a little bit of honey actually makes it a little bit sweeter. So day 24, we finally arrived. I don't know if anyone else saved day 24 until the very end, but hopefully for day 23, you very much enjoyed the hojicha honey that we had. That was probably another one of my favorites and a very unique green tea flavor to honey, which was really beautiful. But for day 24, we have an organic fermented black tea. Now, this might seem like an interesting choice to put on the last day of 24, but what we wanted to do is really showcase a lot of different aspects of Japanese tradition and cuisine, all sort of that came together in one specific product. So this is made from organic green tea. So once again, it is very difficult to get that organic certification in Japan. So we really wanted to make sure everyone could really taste the flavor and how different the quality really affects how much you can enjoy a tea like this. But we wanted to also showcase fermentation. So, as a lot of you know, Japanese food is very famous for being fermented foods. And so I'm sure that you've heard of miso or soy sauce, sake, mirin, tsukemono. A lot of these different flavors are fermented. And I think that that's really what helps to bring out not only the flavor, but a lot of the health benefits of Japanese food. And so the reason that we wanted you to try something special like this is to see how different having something fermented could be from something that you're used to. So if you've had green tea before, I'd love to see a show of hands if people had a chance to actually enjoy this. But I think what you'll notice is that the fermentation actually helps to bring out notes of caramel and chocolate, and there's a little bit of extra flavor that you start noticing. So we really want you to sort of sit back and relax with this tea. Only steep it for 2 to 3 minutes, because I think with a lot of teas, it can, if you steep it for too long, it can sort of pick up a bitter flavor. And if you actually get a chance to try our Japanese green tea and specialty teas Ryu Care package, this package actually has a brochure that goes through the different ways to steep different types of teas, because it does matter depending on how long you steep them. Some tea bags you can use more than once. And we also showcase some teas that aren't traditional teas. So you can try a soba cha, which is made from soba, or a kuremame cha, which is made from black beans. And an interesting little fact, because we love to share as much information as possible. I don't know if you know this, but all teas actually are made from the exact same plant. So whether or not you're having a green tea, a black tea, or a white tea, it's all the same plant. And what makes it different is the fermentation. So when you start with something like a green tea, it's actually fermented, so it's more of an oxidization. And it's only for a very short period before it's steamed to prevent it from oxidizing. So that's why it still has that like vibrant green flavor. But the longer that you leave it to be oxidized, you'll move on to a darker sort of brown colored tea. So you'll sort of move through into an oolong tea, or then as you get further on, you'll get into something like a black tea, which has a stronger flavor. And then when you get into pu'er tea, which is also fermented post the oxidization. So I think it's really unique to see how the different teas come together from the exact same plant. So, as you know, Japan is famous for its teas. And so, if you have a chance to enjoy this, I really think it might be a great experiment for you to maybe try it side by side with a different type of either fermented tea or even a green tea, just to see how unique this flavor is. And so before we wrap up, if you have any questions, please let us know. I would love for you to add them to the chat, or you can send them to us on IG. Madiko is going to sort of handle any questions that may come through. Thank you for notes there for the education. Yeah, this is really important to us. We want to make sure that when you join our Kokoro community, that you feel very comfortable in understanding the products. I think for a lot of people, I'm embarrassed to say, or maybe I should be proud to say that I'm still learning Japanese. I take lessons every week, and my kanji and reading and writing definitely could use some improvement. So for all of our packages, whether you join up for a subscription, monthly or seasonal, or one of our curated packages, I mentioned the tea one, but we have a wonderful one called the omakase box, which is for beginners. So if you're looking to sort of join our community and start from scratch. They have some iconic flavors. We have a snack box. We have a dashi box. So if you're a little bit more advanced and really want to get to know more about Japanese flavors, you can try our dashi box. But while I have you, I wanted to show you one of our most recent brochures. So this will come with each of our packages. So as I said, subscription or the one-time gift packages. And we really try to make it as easy as possible for you to enjoy our products. So we usually include a full page map, and that will show you exactly where each of the products comes from. And then we also include really detailed information about the product. So you can get to know not only the product itself, but how to use it, who the producers are, because as I said, the producers are the star of the show. And then as well, we always include recipes whenever needed as well. So we try to make them either traditional or even fusion to make them really easy for everyone to enjoy. And so this, as I mentioned, will come through for all of our packages. And if there is a product that you love, a lot of the time we'll have it available for you to purchase as a single item. So we have single items. This was actually a fortunate problem that I guess we ran into. We started, gosh, 6 years ago. I remember still shipping our first couple of packages as a subscription, and our company evolved over time where people would fall in love with a product and realize that they couldn't. Oh, sorry, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thank you. That a lot of people would fall in love with the product and they wouldn't be able to get it anywhere else. And so you can now purchase a lot of the products as single items as well. So I know that somebody asked me which is my favorite product. It is really hard. The yuzu miso, I absolutely adore. I have to say, that is one of my favorites for sure. We have a tosazu, which is like a flavored vinegar that I think is very, very unique and it's very difficult to find outside of Kobe, which is where it's actually made. And I find that it's been seasoned in such a way that it doesn't have the sourness of vinegar, and you literally put it on anything. So you put it on your chicken or in a stir fry or in a salad, and it just makes everything taste better. So that is one of my favorites as well. Um, and Yokan. So we featured Yokan actually in our package as well. I don't know if you had a chance to enjoy that. But it's funny, I don't have much of a sweet tooth, but I've been known to really, really enjoy Yokan, which is more of a firm jelly that you would slice up and you enjoy. They're almost in domino-sized pieces, sorry. And they're usually made from adzuki, which is a sweet red bean mixed with sugar. The one for you, those of you who enjoyed our advent calendar, is actually made from sweet potatoes, which I had actually never tried before. And that became one of my favorites as well. The yuzu, we had a question about the yuzu miso. No, so you can't use this for miso soup. So we do have a miso that you can use in and of itself, but the added of the sweetness of it makes it an interesting consistency that I wouldn't recommend using for a miso soup. But we also do have a lot of, for people who love miso soup as much as I do, and what I find amazing about some of the miso soups in Japan is they come freeze dried. So you can order, we have a lot of different varieties where you just add hot water. And because it's freeze dried, all the textures and flavors of the ingredients literally just melt into the soup bowl. And you really feel like you're almost having a bowl of miso soup that your grandmother made. So if you have a chance, if you love miso soups, I highly recommend having a chance to enjoy those as well. And I'm just going to share my screen just one last time. Unless there's any other questions, Mariko, let me know. And I just wanted to say, and this is how we say Happy New Year in Japan. So for those of you who know, Christmas is not a very big tradition in Japan. Yes, it is true. They do eat KFC on Japan. That is sort of their take on turkey. They also have a white Christmas cake that they enjoy as well. But Christmas really is almost like a date night, but it's not really something of a big holiday. But New Year's is. So New Year's Day is a very, very big holiday in Japan. It's actually a 3-day holiday. And during that time, the idea is that you order this osechi ryori, which is this beautiful lacquered box that comes with different little bits and pieces that you can order, that you can enjoy. And each flavor that's in there has a different meaning. And the idea is that you order one of these boxes and you eat it throughout 3 days so that you're not actually cooking, and that you have a chance to rest. It looks like here we have a question. So it's becoming, oh, this it's Kokoro subscription. So yes, somebody on the chat was saying that their advent calendar was the first introduction to Kokoro Care. Our subscription, we have a monthly and seasonal subscription. The monthly tends to be really easy to eat, ready to eat foods that require either no cooking or just a minimal amount of cooking. And so once again, it will include one of these brochures. The theme changes every month and we make it as easy as possible for you to enjoy Japanese food. The seasonal comes out once every 3 months. So as you know, Japanese food is very seasonal. And so that's a lot of what we try to do, showcase the seasonal foods in Japan. And so the seasonal box has a little bit more variety. It's a little bit bigger and it does have more cooking products involved. So it does have some snacks and sweets that are easy to enjoy, but it does come with recipes as well. So it's a little bit more for those who enjoy cooking. So we have those two different options. But as I said, they all come with an English brochure with all the recipes and suggested uses as well. So I know we're almost a little bit over time, but I did want to just say a big dozo yoi otoshio, which you can practice on your own. This is how we say Happy New Year in Japan. And it tends to be what you say before the new year. So it's almost in anticipation for that. So once again, you can try it with me. It's on your screen. It's dozo yoi otoshio. And so I want to wish everyone a very happy New Year and a Merry Christmas for those who celebrate. I was super excited to share this first ever Advent calendar with you. If you have any feedback, I know there were some ways that we could improve a little bit on the box design, and we're always looking to improve, so we'll definitely be doing that. And for those of you who joined us, Happy New Year to you, Chizu. We have a discount code Advent Adventure 2024 that you can use off for 10% off your next purchase. So I know it's Christmas Eve, and I appreciate I'm not going to keep everyone longer from spending time with their family and friends. So I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season. I look forward to sharing more of our special products with you in 2025. So thank you very much, and thank you for everyone who joined us on IG is Live.